Hello and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel, and this is the ratings show after United have beaten Everton 2-0 at Goodison Park in the Carabou Cup. 2 late goals, great strike by Edison, Cavani, and another good goal as well by Anthony Martial, who came on as a sub for about the last 25 minutes or something. So they got through. The draw was straight after the game. They've drawn City, which I'm not surprised that they've drawn City. I more or less expected it once I knew that we were both in that draw. So it's a tough semi-final they've got that's going to be played in the first week of January. Last night's game, for me, I think it's the best we've played. As a few people said to me, we played better on Saturday. You've got a short memory when we beat Leeds 6-2. I'm not sure we did. Last night, for me, we were in control of that game from start to finish. Everton had very, very few chances. In fact, there was a diving header by Sigurdsson from about 14 yards out. I don't think you can call a diving header a clear-cut chance. He also took a free kick, Sigurdsson, that it was a fairly comfortable save. He had to palm it over the bar. And then also in the first half, Sigurdsson got into the box. I think he beat Matic and tried to get a shot in, but it was blocked by Maguire. It was all, bitty little sort of chances, not real chances that Everton. I don't think they had one clear-cut chance where you could say that player should have scored. Now, to me, that's being in control of the game. Not only did we score 2 goals, but we probably had 3 or 4 good chances in the first half, and more than that in the second half, because Everton fell apart after we'd scored 1. We could have scored 3 or 4, let alone 2 in the last 5 minutes, as well as a couple of other chances. United probably had almost as many chances against Everton as we had against Leeds, but Leeds had 6 or 7 or 8 good chances against us, whereas Everton didn't have any. So to me, that's better. We controlled the match. We could have done with scoring earlier. If we'd have scored earlier, we might have took more chance. We might have scored more goals. Doesn't really matter though when you've won 2-0 in the end. It's okay in hindsight saying we would like to have scored earlier, but does it really matter? We won 2-0. It could have been more. And I think it's our best. Well, it's our best performance for quite a while, as far as I'm concerned. How often do we play a game? We don't keep any clean sheets, and it works like this. No matter how many goals a team score in a game, it's pretty rare that you put all your chances in. Now, like we scored 2, but we probably had 6 or 8 clear-cut chances, let alone the half-bitty chances as well. Like Everton had a couple of bitty chances, if you like. So we could have scored more, but like when Leeds scored 2 against us, they could have had 6. So you don't score all your chances. So to keep a clean sheet and for Everton not to have a clear-cut chance was a quality display as far as I'm concerned. So I do think that I'm right in what I said, in that it is the best we've played. We haven't controlled a game like that for a while, where we were pretty comfortable. A little bit of pressure from corners. Look, that's what Everton have got, tall defenders that they put up. A little bit of pressure from corners. A little bit of pressure from free kicks put in the box. Calvert-Lewin won an header from one corner, but it just dropped tamely straight into the keeper's grasp. So I don't think Everton really had a clear-cut chance, and I think that's a good performance, and I was well pleased with it. I sat there pretty look, you're never sure that United are going to score. You never know for sure that you will score, but we were dominant, and I was sat there pretty comfortable all the way through the match, expecting not to lose and knowing that we need to score. Not expecting them to get one. You felt as though it can go wrong, but it felt as though it was always going to be you that was going to score. So for rating the ratings from that game, it's the ratings from the Daily Express. After the cup tie, we don't do a player in focus. There isn't time really. It's Christmas Eve. It's Thursday. United play again Boxing Day at 12:30. There's never time to fit the midweek game in for a player in focus by the time you've done the voting and everything. So I'll just do a rating the ratings, so you can see what I think of the ratings in one of the outlets. So as I say, it's the Daily Express, and the Daily Express have given Dean Henderson a 6. They said not a lot to do for Henderson in truth. Everton's shots on goal were often easy enough for the deputy to deal with, which is what I've just said. Everything that came his way was pretty easy. He did come a little bit too far for a free kick that went out for a goal kick. There was no damage done. I do remember that one. But when a keeper keeps a clean sheet, I think it's a bit churlish to only give him a 6. I think I've upped that to a 7. so I don't agree with a 6 for Dean Henderson. I've given him a 7 myself. Axel, they've given Axel a 7. They've said Tuanzebe played a more defensive fullback role than Telles on the opposite side. A good performance from the academy graduate, they've said. I wouldn't disagree with that. I thought there was a couple of dodgy moments, a couple of dodgy passes, but like there was for every player. So I think Axel was worth a 7. They've given Eric Bailey a 6. Did what he had to do well, as he hopes to push for the first team spot. His passing was sometimes off, as I've just said. You know, everybody does it, 1 or 2 bad ones, and Bailey's passing. I think it might be a generalisation that these writers, they do make generalisations. I think Bailey's passing often lets him down, but I don't think it was particularly poor last night. There was a couple of dodgy ones, but I don't think there was enough poor passing last night from Bailey to make it worth a mention. Put it that way. And then they've said used his pace to get Maguire out of trouble late on, following a wayward pass from the captain. So that's a funny one as well. They've mentioned a wayward pass from the captain and yet criticised Bailey's passing. But they've given Bailey a 6. I think all the defenders were worth a 7, mate. Like I say, a clean sheet, pretty solid performance. Hardly a chance for Everton. So I'm upping Eric Bailey to a 7 for last night. They've given Maguire a 6. Almost put United in trouble after half an hour. It gave possession away to Everton's leading scorer, Calvert-Lewin. Almost gifted a chance late on, but for Bailey to bail him out. Otherwise, a relatively solid night for the skipper. Like I say, couple of misplaced passes like there was for everybody else. And again, solid performance, I thought. 7 out of 10 for me, not a 6. They've given Telles a 7. Telles got forward a lot down the left-hand side to give United some width, especially in the first half. Defended well as Everton came into the game more. The Brazilian played a few key passes that led to chances for Solskjaer's side. And then it just says one word, subbed. I think he was subbed on 83 minutes. It was a bit of a strange substitution. You can't really deny that it's to do with strengthening the side. I think Ollie actually said after the game that Luke Shaw gave him extra pace, and no, it wasn't pace he used. It was strength down the left-hand side. So I think, as I've been saying to a lot of people, I think Luke Shaw is still the man in possession. A lot of people just think we've bought Telles, he's going to be a shoe-in at left-back. It isn't going to be the case, as I've been saying since day one, really, when we signed him. But I wouldn't disagree with his 7 out of 10. He was perfectly fine. He did get forward a hell of a lot, and then I'm just reading this out in order, in the order that the Express have written it. So the next man up is going to be part of this, part of Telles' game, if you like. Nemanja Matic. What I noticed, especially throughout the first half, is Telles was getting forward a lot. And the way Matic plays, you often see him drop in between the centre-backs, making a third centre-back. But yesterday, he seemed to drop into the left-back area a hell of a lot. And he was, starting the play going from the left-back area. And Telles was, when we were attacking, it was almost like we were playing with a back four with Matic at left-back when we were in possession. A lot of the time it was like that. And Telles was getting further forward down the left, almost playing on the left wing. Probably right on top of Van der Beek. But I wouldn't disagree with Telles' 7, as I've said. Matic is the next man up. They've just said a typical performance from Matic in the middle of the park. Solid, if unspectacular, from the former Chelsea man. 6 out of 10. I've upped Matic to a 7. There's no way on earth that they can give Alex Telles a 7 and Tuanzebe a 7 for me and give Nemanja Matic a 6. He was instrumental in getting our play moving. A lot of people. In fact, I'll put a clip up. I'll put a clip up on Twitter later of the goals. He was instrumental in the way we played. A lot of people get fed up with sideways passing. When they're playing the ball sideways across the field, they do want to pass it forward. Some players get some players get impatient and they play a forward pass that isn't really on. Pogba was a culprit for it last night and often is. Bruno was a culprit for it last night and often is. If it's not on, it isn't worth trying, and it certainly isn't worth trying consistently. And the sideways passing is about waiting for the right moment till you can see the forward pass that is on. And our first goal that opened them up last night, there was at least 11 passes between Bailey, Maguire and Matic as they just edged the way up the field. I think Matic probably played 3 passes in that sequence. All dead easy passes, all sideways passes. Believe me, they do want to. There's only 3 minutes left when we scored, or was it less? It might have been 2 minutes. They do want to play it forward, but they will not play it forward if there isn't a pass that's on. And then suddenly it comes to Maguire, and it was a great pass by Maguire. It was on an angle. Marshall's come short for it. He's found a little pocket of space, and Maguire gives it him. Marshall does his business, turns, runs with the ball. He's brilliant at that. Beautiful pass to Cavani, who smashed in a great goal from the edge of the box. Now, if it was a less patient player who was dropping into the back four, a less patient midfield player, we would not have played those 10 or 11 passes. We would have played a long ball. It would have got headed away, or it would have gone through to the keeper, as happens virtually every time you play a long ball. So you don't know when that moment's going to come. I'm not saying that it's anything brilliant, but you do need to be patient when you play for. If you watch the top sides play, they don't play as many risky passes, and they wait for the right moment. So that first goal, the all-important goal, came about because of all that passing, and all that passing is influenced a lot by Matic dropping in, and he's so calm, and he keeps the ball moving, he keeps it ticking over. He's got a massive influence on the game, Matic, when he plays, and he's in. And I've heard people, pundits, say this. I don't always agree with the pundits. I've seen writers say it. They often say, you must see this and you must hear it sometimes. You hear them say, what a calming influence Matic has got. I don't really think they understand exactly what they're saying, by the way. And what it does mean is that there's more patience. There's more patience in the team when Matic is playing, and it's a patient game, and it's about keeping hold of the ball, not giving it away cheaply. And it's an infectious game, football. And when he drops into that back four and starts moving the ball around, that's when United can put pressure on the opposition, start moving them around, and spaces will open up. Like I say, it's not going to lead to a goal every time, but it can lead to a goal sometimes because you're tiring them out as well. And it is real. I think Matic had a really influential game. That is the word, if you like. Yeah, an influential game. He influences how the team plays. And to give him a 6 and give other players a 7, to me, is a bit of a joke. To be honest, I'd be tempted to give him an 8, but I won't go over the top. So I'll give him a 7 and say that without any shadow of a doubt, he was as good as any of the defenders. He was better really, but I'll give him a 7. You can be a bit better and still get the same number. Then they've given Paul Pogba a 7. Paul played okay, perfectly fine, but not as good as Matic, and I'm giving Pogba a 6, so I'm swapping those numbers around. They've put Paul Pogba definitely outperformed Van der Beek. I don't get that. Why have they written that? Although the pair were playing in slightly different positions. I'm completely bemused by that. Why would you compare two players and then actually point out that they're playing in different positions anyway? Paul Pogba outperformed Van der Beek, although, well, first of all, I don't agree. I don't think he did outperform him. Played fine, but Van der Beek's game is all about keeping it simple, whereas Paul played a few too many of those spectacular passes that I'm talking about. So he gave the ball away more often. Some people think, oh, someone's got to try that. The more often you try it, the more breathers you give in their defenders. Paul tried it a few times too many. Bruno tried it a few times too many. And Matic played a couple of long balls, but doesn't overdo it. So, and then he came more into the game in the second half, and he's pushing for a start on Boxing Day. And it says booked. Pretty abrupt. I like the way he does these abrupt things, this writer. He just put subbed against Alex Telles, and he's just put booked against Paul Pogba. But yeah, I think he's pushing for a start. I don't know if McTominay's going to be fit, but that's for another show. but I do think he's pushing for a start Boxing Day. But Pogba, yeah, perfectly okay. But I would, because 6, as far as I'm concerned, 6 is decent. So it was decent, nothing more. But a decent game by Paul Pogba, so a 6 for me. And the people that are getting 7s, I'm saying that's good. And 6 is decent, so a 6 is decent. Donny van der Beek, they've given him a 5. As I've just said, I don't know what he's looking at me when he's saying he definitely outperformed Van der Beek. Van der Beek, look, rarely gave it away. As I've said on 1 or 2 of the other players, he obviously did give it away once or twice, but his neatness and his tidiness and his patience, if you like, he's not always looking to play that winner. It isn't good to be always looking to play that winner. I hear commentators say, oh, he's always looking to play that winner. That's not good. That's not how Liverpool players play in their midfield. They're not always looking to play that winner. They're looking to keep it simple and stretch the opposition, get them running around. So Van der Beek, for me, played perfectly fine and was not outperformed. It says it's the writer has put Pogba definitely outperformed Van der Beek. Well, that's your opinion. In my opinion, is that he didn't. They both played quite well, and decent to well. So I'm giving Van der Beek a 6. So I've upped Van der Beek from 5 to 6, and I've dropped Paul Pogba from 7 to 6 compared to what the writer thinks. Bruno Fernandes, they've given him a 7. Nearly everything good from United went through Fernandes in the first half. He must have been watching a different game to me. I thought nearly everything that was bad about United went through Bruno Fernandes in the first half. I remember him over it in a pass to Axel that he couldn't catch up, and it went out for a throw-in. In the first few, I think they've mentioned this actually, he'll be disappointed from fluffing his lines early on where he should have set up Cavani with a simple pass. He should have set Cavani up, and it was a simple pass. It got stuck under his feet or something. I don't know what happened really, but it was just poor. There was another ball where Telles was running down the left wing. He tried to play it inside the full back, but he miscued it, and it veered off towards the goalkeeper instead of going in front of Telles. There was a couple of fancy flicks that went straight to their players, and as I said, a couple of long balls that didn't work out for him. I thought Bruno was poor in the first half. And then they've said, what else have they said? He tailed off in the second half as the number of minutes he has played of late started to catch up with him. How do you know? Whoever's written that, how do you know that it's the games that he's played that started to catch up with him? And apart from all that, I don't really agree anyway. I don't think he was any worse or any better in the second half. Or it was late in the game that he ran the full length of the field along with Matic, and Matic passed it to him on the edge of the box and he hit the post with a proper decent effort. Maybe he should have passed it. There was a pass on, I think, but it was a decent effort. He was on the edge of the box. He was entitled to have a shot. I don't have a go at players for the sake of having a go at them. He was entitled to have a shot there, and he nearly scored. It was a good effort. It hit the post. So no, I don't think he did tail off. I thought he was average to decent rather than decent to good. He's pretty tempted to give him a 5, but I'll give him a 6. He does work his socks off. He is all over the field. I did notice one moment, by the way. I don't know if anybody saw it. I noticed one moment where he was telling Matic off as if, I don't know what he was saying to Matic, but you could clearly see they were having words. And Matic strode forward about 10 yards and he was shaking his finger back at him and pushed him in the chest. And Bruno had to take a step back, and it wasn't. You could tell it wasn't jest. They weren't jesting. It was a little bit of a. It was a bit serious. It was in the first half, and players won't take it from. You've got to be playing well, and if you're a skipper, you can say something to somebody, or if you're playing well and you're showing people, leading by example. If you're leading by example, your teammates will respect you and they will probably listen to you 9 times out of 10. I can imagine Matic there getting told off by Bruno, and I can imagine Matic as he's striding forward, and he did give him a bit of a push in the chest. I can imagine him saying, why don't you start passing it to people in a red shirt? You know what I mean? Just having a go at me. You start keeping the ball a bit better before you start telling me what to do. So it didn't look like a very happy camp for a minute there. So I hope that's blown over. Matic should probably get dropped now, obviously, for the weekend. So they give him a 7. Bruno, for me, a 6 at best. I might have even gone a 5, but I will give him a 6. I've had a few people saying to me I've got an agenda. I believe the people that are telling me that I've got an agenda I believe it's you that's got an agenda. Because if you can't watch that game objectively and see that, look, Bruno often gets himself out of trouble with a goal or a couple of goals, gets himself out of trouble with assists. He didn't get a goal or an assist last night. In fact, I don't think he played a single pass that was involved in either of the 2 goals last night. Not that that normally matters. I'm only mentioning it because that's what people normally do bang on about. They normally bang on about, look at his goals, look at his assists. Last night he didn't get a goal, he didn't get an assist, he didn't play a single pass that was involved in any of the goals. And then also gave the ball away, too cheaply, far too often. So if you're going to say to me that I've got an agenda against Bruno, I'm just watching the game and I am just deciding what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing there last night wasn't good enough. And if you think it was, it's you that's got an agenda. It's not me. If he played well, and if he was giving all simple passes, and we did dominate the game. We would have dominated the game even more if Bruno would have passed it as well as certain other players passed it. But I don't mind giving him a 6. Like I say, he is infectious. He works his socks off, and I think that part of his game probably does lift some of the other players around him. Mason Greenwood, they've given a 6 to. I will settle for a 6. They can't really say much. I don't think Mason gets involved in the game if he's not scoring, and he isn't scoring goals, by the way, at the minute. He's got 1 league goal so far this season, Mason. People normally bang on about the amount of goals he scores. They've written in the Express, Greenwood went close with a fine header in the first half. It wasn't, and he played the ball out to the wing himself and then got in the box. It was a nice move, that. Some nice touches from the England international. It tickles me the way they put little things in like that for players. The England international, what all the other players are all. I don't think we've got a player in our ranks who's not an international, have we? Anyway, some nice touches from the England international and looked a threat at times. And another abrupt subbed, it says. Yeah, for me, he flatters to deceive Mason a hell of a lot. And last night it was similar. Like they've said, some nice touches. Obviously, you can't get to play for Man United if you've not got a certain amount of ability. That's got to be a fact, surely. So he did do okay on numerous occasions, but just okay. Nothing. I'm almost contradicting myself there. Nothing spectacular. I don't expect spectacular. I don't mind simple stuff, but you do need to be involved a bit more, I think. And I think games are passing Mason by a little bit too much for me. I mean, we've got Cavani in the middle. He's a player who feeds off crosses. Greenwood's not. He is playing wide, whether he's a wide player or not. He's playing wide, and he's not getting balls into the box. So look, he did do, like I've just said, some nice touches. I agree with. He did do okay. Look, how old is he now? I think he's 19, Mason. Just to be able to hold your own on a pitch against Premier League footballers at that age is a credit to you. It really is, trust me. It's a credit to him that he can hold his own, but that's all he is doing. He's just holding his own. And I will settle for the 6 that they've given him, 6 out of 10. Edison, Cavani, they've given him an 8. Cavani worked hard and was constantly giving Everton defenders something to think about. It didn't fall for the former PSG star in the first half, but he came up with the goods eventually. Cavani was lucky there was no VAR after an early incident when he grabbed Yeremina by the throat, or he appeared to. I agree with that. I don't know if they have retrospective red cards, because I do think Edison would have got a red card there if there was VAR on the game. So he really does need to calm down. Yeah, it looks a bit nasty what he did, but they're giving him an 8. I thought he did fine. His goal was brilliantly taken, but I think an 8's a little bit high. I thought he was just decent most of the time, like anyone else. Couple of dodgy moments, but you know, a lot of good stuff. I think a 7 is good enough for Edison as well. So that's that. Put in the comments if anything you don't agree with. You know, if you think Bruno had a great game last night, I get that a lot. If you think Bruno had a great game last night, it's you that's got an agenda, and or you don't understand football. It can only be one of two things. So that's that. Leicester away on Boxing Day. I'll be back tomorrow. Just a short show, Christmas Day. I'll be back tomorrow with you know, a little bit of a show about what I think the team might be if everybody's fit and how important the game is. It's obviously a massive game. 12:30 kickoff on Boxing Day, Saturday. So I'll be back Christmas Day. If you've enjoyed that little show, please subscribe. Please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anybody. Keep stum.